Good evening and welcome to Live, Love, and Marry Wiser, where our mission is in our name. Proverbs 4:7 says, Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. With all that getting, get understanding. And we are here. And where's we? There's we. We are here every week to help you to do that in your life, your love, and your marriage. What's up? 101.
101, like the Dalmatians, baby. We in here.
Now this girl was sick like 3 seconds ago, and now she got it already. I love it. I love it. Well,
got my specialty and my Live, Love, and Marry Wiser merch,
amen.
and I'm excited. I was so glad to see you last week and being able to hug your neck in the 2025.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
It was so fast.
Right? Did I see you twice? No, I was supposed to see you Sunday, but then
yes.
But I saw you Tuesday, and we just hugged a lot.
Yes. And then got right to it. Then got right to business.
Right to it. I hope you were with us last week on our 100th episode celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And, every time you do something like that, there's so much work that goes into it. And inevitably, you forget something.
So, yeah.
I forgot something huge, and I, got it later. So before we go any further, I would like to say thank you to my sister.
Yes.
I got a lot of sisters, but I only have one sister. And I need to thank her because she has been producing this podcast for a long, long time.
Yes.
And she's been behind the scenes and, making sure everything kind of goes right there so I don't have to worry about that. And I forgot to mention her. And so, Heather, thank you. If you're watching, you better be watching, but if you're watching, she doesn't need to produce right now. But if you're watching, thank you very much. So we appreciate you. I also want to remind the winners. I got one to send your email to email me at Lorraine@asinglemission.com if you want your gift. Give me your address. I got one already. Penny, plant-based Penny.
I had to tell her on Sunday because she had dropped off, and I said, Penny, I think you won. She's like, really? Well, I don't need the.
Okay. She didn't know. Okay, cool.
She didn't know. I said, yeah, girl, you want some merch? She was so excited. She thought I had it with me, and I was like, girl, I didn't know you were going to be here. I know how to merch.
Well, that's gonna get sent to you. And got a shout out for Heather again over there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if I think Merle, if you're watching, then just send me an email with your address, and we will get that gift bag to you. Hey, Marion, how are you doing? Happy to have you here. Did you all enjoy last week's episode? Oh, like there she is.
Hey, Susan.
Yeah,
Everybody says she
always.
got 15 minutes for our shenanigans.
I know. Always in the house. Always in the house. Okay, let's see what else do I have to say. I have some more notes. Okay, happy anniversary to Pastor Frank and Perla Legette. Their anniversary 1 year was yesterday,
Yes.
and we were going to be so excited to have them on here. Unfortunately, and I will tell you the bad news now. Unfortunately, Pastor Legette is sick.
Yeah.
And so, and he's really sick, or, he would come on, but his wife, his better half, said, I need you to chill out right now.
Yes.
And he has the flu. I did talk to him for a few minutes, and he's just as crazy as always. But we are going to reschedule them probably for the week after next, because we actually have a guest coming next week too, and we are excited about him, and we'll tell you more about him later this week, or maybe at the end. But we're excited to have him. We were actually going to talk about chapter 16 today. We were going to weave that in with our discussion with the Legettes, because it certainly was fitting.
Yes.
But we do regret that they are not able to be with us. But we do want to give them a happy anniversary shout out.
Yes.
Tell them how much we appreciate them. Let's see who else we got in the chat here. Thank you. We definitely love Susan. And Ebony is, of course, in the house. And yeah, he's sick, but he's still crazy in all the good kind of ways. He was
Yes.
cracking me up while I was driving over here.
Praying for you, Pastor Legette. Hope you feel better ASAP.
So we're going to have to do a take two on this topic, but we're still going to talk about marriage after I do what we didn't expect in year one. And we're going to talk a lot from chapter 16 of The Adventist Home. And we know The Adventist Home is the book we've been using for this season, which, by the way, this season is coming to a close. I don't know the exact date yet, but this season is, we're on chapter 16, which means there were some times we doubled up. So we might even have gone over. I'm not even sure. But I am going to calculate that and let you all know when we go on hiatus. We'll do some recorded episodes as usual. But
Lorraine, I meant to tell you somebody else's anniversary today. It's a 28-year dating anniversary today of mine and Victor's. Today's
wow.
28. And he beat me to it this morning. I guess I don't know what day of the week it was. And I'm like, OMG. And then he asked me, excuse me, which I thought was weird. He said, were you nervous? And I was like, oh, maybe a little sort of. He said, I was nervous. And I'm like, what? You nervous? I couldn't tell it. So cool and confident at all times. I'm like, what? But that was it. Yep, today's 28 years we were dating. And we decided, like, we decided on that date, we're dating for the long haul. Like, we weren't going to waste each other's time. And so I can't believe it's been 28 years. Lord have mercy.
I have done the long haul for sure.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and that's when he texted me back. He said, yeah, I was dating my life partner. And I was like, oh, snuck him.
That would make you nervous, as opposed to just like, catching a sandwich in a movie.
Right.
Like, wait, I'm marry this girl. So
like, wow.
Things are going to be different. That's
Seriously.
so cool. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to talk to you about your first year. So we'll get a little love in there from there.
Yes.
We got
Thank
a little
you, Mary
message here.
Thank
Um,
you, ladies. Thank you.
we are dating. So you got to still keep track of that, huh? Yeah. Because I'm like,
You have to, Lorraine. I mean, and it depends on how sentimental your person is. Because I would tell you, I don't think I'd ever bought Minnie a Hallmark card before I started dating this man. And one of the first ones he bought was like it was grandparents' date, and I mean we were still newly dated, and he came over and he was like, I got your grandmother grandparents' day card," and I was like, "That's a thing," and he was like, "Yeah, you didn't buy those," and I was like, "No," and we had to get the gold crown sticker to put on the back to make it official. Happy date anniversary, Ebony.
look at your girl right here, though. She's like,
Yes,
yeah. You don't tell. Technically, you don't have to remember. You can
that's it.
still be married. You can still be married. She don't hardly remember what year she is in her anniversary. Like, what is that again? As long as
Yes,
you stay in the house and you stay married, then you good. You good.
yeah.
Uh, okay. So, do I have any other? Let's see. Okay. Well, we're going to start with a quote because that's what we do. You ready?
Yes.
The beauty of this is that it's like she always starts with
Bump.
the like like you don't have any secret about what the chapter's gonna be about.
Yeah, no, none of that.
When she starts. It's always in the first paragraph. So here we go. To gain a proper understanding of the marriage relation is the work of a lifetime, just like sanctification, apparently. Those who marry enter a school from which they are never in this life to be graduated. All right, Onita.
Well,
You know what I do. I always ask you for your overview.
child, when I saw that, I said, "So, Auntie Ellen, you mean to say we'll never arrive? Like it's like our journey, our sanctification walk. Like you're always forever, exactly, exactly. You're always forever learning." But I can attest to that. That is true because we were young and married, and so we both have changed, and we grow, and you pivot, and you have to be willing to evolve, change, learn, pivot. So I believe that very much so. I just seeing it made out just as plain, like literally saying you will never graduate in this life. What, Lord?
That's
Never,
why,
never?
Onita, this is why it's so important for people to read the book before they get married, if
Oh
they're
yeah,
not married.
yeah,
Because
definitely.
it doesn't deter you from marriage. It makes
Yeah,
me actually want to be married more,
yeah. You got the tools.
but it helps me to understand. I mean, I've read the book, a lot, so I know, but it helps you to understand. Okay, so I'm never going to graduate from that school. Like, there's always going to be. So now I can have a perspective. So
Yes,
basically, like if
yes,
you go to college and you think, oh, I'm going to finish in 4 years, and they're just like, no, you're never going to finish. Either I'm going to go and just be committed to never finishing,
yes.
or I'm going to say, that's not the path that I want to
Right.
be on. At least I have a
Not
clear
so much.
understanding of what is happening going in. So yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and it, like you said, it's reassuring, honestly, too, to say, "Dang, that's why certain things are cycles or certain lessons." Even then, like you said, our journey with Christ, certain things we think we got over, and then it just shows up a different way. You're like, "Oh, I I'm not over that," or "I didn't learn my lesson yet." It's just
Didn't
it's just
learn the
reassuring.
lesson.
Right. It's just reassuring that some things you got to keep doing. And marriage is a choice daily. You're choosing daily to love, forgive, fight for. And so this is what this is telling me. Like it's still your choice daily, but recognizing that you've not arrived. So one, it says to me, don't become complacent and thinking, oh, I got this person figured out that I can just coast and just become complacent and not even
Oh,
try.
that's good.
No, you still need to.
That's
There's
good.
things
That's good. I
your
love
partners
that.
need, so don't just think, oh, I got to figure out. I already know what you're going to say before you say it. No, maybe we've learned each other's habits and patterns later on, and you may think it, but give them
And
not
that's
even the benefit of the doubt. Give them the respect to say they may actually say it different this time. Maybe they've learned now. And so hear them out. Don't
mm-hmm.
listen with already your defensive answer and
Right.
in your mouth ready to go. Actually listen to hear this time and process because we don't fully know. We're still learning. And so, like you said, one, it's if you're not married, it should say, hey man, now I got the tools. Like I got the cheat code. So now I can go in because I
Yeah.
will tell you, because we have so much knowledge increasing, right? You do have people that think they got it all figured out. Case in point, that we had the marriage seminar this past weekend, and there was a couple there, youngest couple, newlyweds, had a lot to say. Now, mind you, I've been married for years. I ain't raised my hand not even one time, I think. Maybe towards the end, because I just wanted to hear people at the but I did speak out one time, and when I did, I plugged the podcast. So I hope some of them have tuned
All
in.
right, come on
But
now.
yeah, but they had the answers. We're talking about premarital counseling, and she was like, actually, you should do pre-engagement counseling because before you even engage, which I think is good that you have that, but you could have all of the pre-engagement, the premarital, know all the podcasts, have all the books, and move in with this joker. And what's that series? The soap opera As the World Turns. The world, baby, is turning. Okay? You never lived with him during that time
She
of the month.
says this, Onita. She says that exact thing. Not maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not as the world turns, but she says that in here, in this
Yeah.
chapter, it says, and I've said that even before, that there are husband and wife learn each other's character as it was impossible to learn it in their previous association.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's another part where she says that, I mean, there's just a reality that there's some things that you can't know until you move in with somebody.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we certainly aren't saying don't prepare, because there's a lot of preparation that you can do before, so
Mm-hmm.
that when you move in and you learn these new things, how you deal with them, how do you navigate them. That's
Yeah.
really a lot of what is happening in this book. It's about
Yes.
your character and who you are and who you choose,
Yes.
so that when those situations arise where you're learning new things and you're just saying, I didn't know that one,
Yes.
didn't see that coming, didn't, how do you navigate it? Because
Yes.
you still love this person and you still
Yes.
committed to a life to this person. So yeah, no, that's good.
Yes. Yeah. The quote one of the things you said, I had to highlight it. Then she goes further down in that same paragraph where she says, often they discern in each other unsuspected weaknesses and defects. That first year, baby. That first year, as the kids say, baby. Um, and not just the first year. There's some stuff I learned year 23.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Because you never graduated.
Never graduated.
Graduated.
So, just gonna highlight that point because she does fix it, come back again, but says, but the hearts that love has united will discern but the hearts that love has united will discern excellencies also heretofore unknown. Let all seek to discover the excellencies rather than the defects.
Mm.
That is so.
Ooh, love that.
That goes. I don't know why I'm emotional. That goes against. That goes against that goes against so much. That goes against the cultural norm.
Oh, absolutely. It goes
That
against
goes
our
against.
flesh.
Yeah, that's the flesh, and it goes against our flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, she's saying again in another way, stop worrying about his speck in his eye while you got this plank in your eye. Seek out the good things. What attracted you to this person? What made you choose this person? And keep remembering that and seek out the good. I think it's later in the chapter that she says it, because I've heard this said about money, but it also says about marriage. Marriage is either going to magnify or deteriorate some things about you. So the excellencies that he has or she has will actually increase with the right spouse helping you do that. However, you could actually be torn down and brought down, like made to be the worst version of yourself
Mm-hmm.
in a marriage with the wrong character and not the right
Wow.
mindset.
That's
And
good
so
stuff.
I think I have it highlighted further down. I feel like this chapter was longer, but I love it. But
Yeah, because
the
what you just said, she says right below that, often it
okay.
is our own attitude, the atmosphere that surrounds ourselves, which determines what will be revealed to us in another. So, like, you got a stinky attitude, then all you're going to see is the negative and the stinky stuff.
Yes.
But if you have a good attitude, then you pull out, not only does it attract the other person, but you pull out those things. You look for those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in this chapter, but somewhere else in the book where she says that you should, when you're courting or dating,
Mm-hmm.
you should look for every defect of character. But once you marry, you should not be looking for those at all. Your love should cover those
Yeesh.
because you made the decision now. So now, whatever it is, whatever it be, it be.
Mm.
And so, so yeah, this was a powerful thing. Uh,
Yes.
and she goes on to talk about how love must be tested and tried.
Yes.
And I know I'm gonna just go and ask you for one way, especially in the beginking, like at
Mm-hmm.
the first year of marriage, if you can remember, but even just at the beginning, it
Mm-hmm.
was so long ago. But
I had a whole college student to go, and then some.
the whole generation, you know, how the Bible be like in this generation, that is a whole generation.
Right.
What was one thing that tested and tried you all in the beginning of your relationship?
In the beginning, and Susan knows this, and Marion's here for it. People may not have known, but being married, newlyweds, and then also having custody of 3 teenagers, um,
Mm.
we were forced to be parents. And because of my upbringing, I was already a parent in mindset. So I pivoted right to that mode and
Hmm.
had no problem with it. And my husband did too. However, there was a wife role that a lot of times were not the primary focus,
Mm.
especially as a newlywed. Now it's funny when I watch some of these like old English movies and stuff now, or even I don't care what it is, but back in the day where I recognize where people got married and they sent them off for the honeymoon for months. They didn't make sometimes it's a year. Like
Hmm.
family was not going to see them. And yes, they didn't have the cell phones or whatever, but they could send letters. That maybe they weren't even expected to send a letter for those first few months because it's so critical that
Yeah,
you're connecting with your spouse and building.
that's
And
good.
so, and so though we both made this commitment, we didn't recognize, neither of us recognized still the fact of keeping God first. She says, and it said, make Christ first and last and best and everything. How critical that was to do that, being of what we were taking on. Like we wasn't like,
Mhm.
oh, we had 9 months to prepare for a baby.
Right, right,
You
right.
know, where you're
And they were
shifting,
a baby.
right? And they were a
It
baby
has
with
its own challenges, but trying to raise a teenager, even the one that you raised, is like
right,
that's some rough stuff. Now
some
you
rough
got
stuff.
3 of them.
I mean, right at the point of puberty, and they don't even know why they got an attitude today. They're just the sun is out, and I don't want it to be out. Like, and so, and you go from we're big brother and sister, but now you're full time parents. So now I can't even kiki with you like I did before because now this is what we're doing. And great kids, but there was a hard transition even with them to their new normal within that first year. So us having to deal with that and shift with that, but just for a normal couple, I'm saying normal, we were normal, but people who didn't have that right away.
How
Bottom
long? How long after you got married did you have custody?
line, Victor's brother was there with us maybe a month or two later, and then my sisters were there maybe
Oh, I
five,
didn't know.
four
I
or
didn't
five
know
months.
his brother was there too.
Yes, so we had three, two 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. And
A month?
yes,
Dragging a big cabbage. Don't
yes, exactly.
speaking in tongues over here.
And listen, it became the running, I would say running joke, but you'd have people go, y'all better than me. We've even had pastors saying, amen, God bless y'all. We couldn't have done it. And we'd be like, okay, but not recognizing, one, because we both were people who took care of people, and we're not going to let our siblings go without. We're not going to see. For us, it was not a hard choice. Like it was, we
Yeah.
was even a long conversation. It
Right.
was like, oh, we need to get them. Okay, so what time are we heading to get them? That's what it was.
Yeah.
What we failed to recognize, as a lot of people do, even in early on marriage, what you build in the dating and engagement period, once you are married and in the home and all of these characters are being revealed, you still need to make God a priority and your marriage a priority over
Mhm.
everything. Like
Yeah.
it needs to still be that point so that you're not um losing sight of your purpose partner, who you have. You're not forgetting the date nights. You're
Mhm.
not like all the things he did to pursue you and get you,
Yes.
you still need
Yes.
to do.
Right.
And as the wife, recognizing that there's a, like we got the book Pray It Forward, that needs to start day one. Don't wait till y'all got hurdles and issues.
Mm.
Always don't wait till you're years in to start intentionally praying for your husband. And so
Mm.
even though we would pray together, I
Yeah.
don't think I intentionally prayed just for him, for his mind, for what he speaks. Dr. D. Lucas said on Saturday, she said, pray from the top of his head to the sole of his feet. God help whatever he sees, whatever he thinks, whatever he speaks, whatever he hears. All these things, because we recognize that the enemy still wants to steal, kill, and destroy. And so making your faith, your making God a priority and your spouse, and then everything else. And then everything else, even ministry, not making sure that okay, you practice choir practice every Friday. You plan all your trips around when the choir got to sing. You can miss some of this stuff.
You
And
can.
those are
You
things that sometimes
can.
became an issue too, where you got to be to church every Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday because they have Pathfinders. And so when are we gonna have time, even if it's just to sit and watch HGTV? When are we gonna
Right.
have time to do that? But doing all the things because you're still, like you say, you're still learning this person, even in
Mhm.
you've been dating 5 years, but you ain't been married in the home.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so, making that time, making it a priority for your relationship, to continue to grow, not be stagnant, and to make sure, like she says, you're recognizing the excellencies in your spouse. That
Mhm.
was not the way neither of us was raised. Um, he heard his mom, she did the daggers out. I
Yeah.
heard my mom and
Yeah.
all the women in my family, and probably
Mhm.
men too. So what? Nobody told me that. Like just only now, I would say this: by nature, I typically am a more positive. Always try to see the good in people. That's the God in me.
Mhm.
And so, um, I
Aw.
did that. Oh, thank you, Pootie. Don't make me cry. Love you, sis. Love you, love you, love you. Always,
Yeah. That's.
always. That's my girl, man. When I got my cane, I know who got me, bro. Mary got me. Um, but recognizing that we didn't come necessarily from that. So when she says that you need to be intentional to look for the good always in your partner.
Mhm.
And and I would say sometimes things were avoided because even in conflict, because now we did have kids in the home. Well, okay, all right, you're right. Now sometimes you just need to do that. There's some things that are just not worth
Yeah.
arguing
Not
over.
worth.
All
Not
right,
worth.
yeah,
Not.
you're right. Okay, it's your way. I'm doing that, but also if you keep avoiding and you never deal, then it will become a big. Somebody's going to either implode or explode
Mhm.
later, when you're not dealing with the things. And so, conflict resolution is something that later comes out. I would say that first year, especially if you've never had any conflicts up until that point, and recognizing, okay, you set the boundaries of how will our healthy fighting look like? What would that look like?
Mhm.
What are things that we knew there were certain things we said we were not going to do. His family were great at silent treatment. I said, I'm not doing that. We not. The silent treatment will kill me. But my mom was a fusser. Oh, I want to fuss.
You said, yeah, I know.
And so, but that was not going to work from him. And
Yeah.
so we decided, at least going in, that would not be our way
Right.
to
I think
to.
that's really, I really think that's awesome.
Mhm.
I really admire, just because over the course of however long you've been on this podcast, hearing the different stories, and when he's been on too, hearing you all's story has always been kind of inspirational in the sense because y'all were so young.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously I'm sure you made mistakes and there were challenges and all the things, but there were some very intentional choices that you all made that I think have sustained you all and gotten you to the place here at 25 years married,
Thank you,
26 years
God.
married,
Yeah.
28 years together, and y'all are still friends. You're like you're still best friends. You still love each other. You still like
Yes.
each other. You still joke with each other and have fun together. And I mean, there's a lot of people who may go the distance in the sense of time, but they don't go the distance in the sense of connection and love and relationship and warmth.
Yeah.
And this is talking about happy, successful partnerships. So we're not just talking. I'm not just saying that because you hear. I'm saying that because that's the goal. This is what we
Yeah.
want people to have. And
She talks about that too. She says having warm and true
right,
friendship.
right. I was just gonna say that when I was talking to Pastor Legette and Perla earlier today. They were joking around about something. He was joking, she was laughing, whatever. And just even when I'm producing his podcast and she'll come on camera and
Hmm.
she'll say something and it'll be funny or whatever, you can see the warmth and the
Yes.
friendship that they share. And I think that's so important. It's such a beautiful thing to watch. And I'm going to give away some of his secrets because well, he shouldn't have got on the call with me. But when I think I was telling you before we got on, he was saying that, she's the happiest woman ever. And he's just the best husband and all that.
Yeah.
I said, are you loving her the way she wants to be loved? And he said, ask her. I said, I'm asking you
Yeah.
because you're supposed to ask her and then you're supposed to do what she wants. And so he said, I am. And he's like, and I ask her all the time just to check in to make sure. And she was still on the phone. And she said, yeah, he does ask me all the time. And so I just think that's beautiful because you got to,
Yes.
practice what you preach. That's what he talks
Yes.
about. And so I think that, they are a great example of what this chapter was really about, which was why it was so perfect to have them on
Yes. It
here.
was.
But we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring it back.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay, so another thing that I want to mention is on the next page where she says, though difficulties, perplexities, and discouragements may arise, let neither husband nor wife harbor the thought that their union is a mistake or a
Woo.
disappointment.
Woo.
And that's a powerful thing
Yes.
because it's easy when you get into the muck and the mire sometimes. Okay, maybe maybe I made a wrong choice. Maybe, maybe this, maybe that.
Yeah.
Um, but she said, don't even let it be a thought.
Yeah.
Even if that is true, she don't qualify that it's not true. She's like, even if it is true,
Yeah.
because you didn't follow some of the other stuff in chapters 1 through 15, then we're past that.
Yes.
We're to the place where we made a decision. We talked about the biggest secret that people never talk about a happy marriage is deciding, okay, we this probably wasn't the right thing, but now we're gonna make it right. And how do
Yes.
we make it right? We do the thing that you mentioned earlier. We look out for the excellencies because there are things that you like about that person. There has
Obviously.
to be some things that you like about
Yes.
the person.
Yes.
And so now we have to focus and nurture and make those things stand out so that the relationship, and we both need to do this, but you can only worry about yourself. You drive.
Mm-hmm.
And so you worry about yourself.
Hear about
You
yourself.
do the thing. And if that person's doing wrong, that's between them and God.
Yeah.
So another thing that you mentioned is continue the things that you did to get the person. I don't
Yes.
understand why people stop that, particularly men.
Yeah.
I don't understand, but it's something about this concept of hunting and catching, and once you catch her, and then you just chasing something. I'm just like, stop it. That's such a worldly mindset, and
Yeah.
we actually start to believe that some of this stuff is innate,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, that don't sound like God to me. Now it may be your flesh,
Right.
but that's not God to me. God wasn't like, oh, okay, I died for them, I saved them, now I got them, so now let me move on to whatever. Because he got
Yeah.
a whole bunch of worlds that ain't fall and that love him and serve him and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that keep doing the things, and don't just keep doing the things, raise them to another level, because now you married. There are things you
Yes.
couldn't do before, and I'm not even
Yes.
talking about sex, but I am talking about sex too. There are things that you couldn't do when you were dating. Now you are married. So
Yes.
take that loving to the next level. Take that
Yes.
attention to the next level. Take that those gifts, if that's her thing, or words of affirmation, and take those things to the next level, because now you're married and you're in covenant for life. And
Amen.
the other thing I want to say is, she says study.
Yes.
I
Study to advance.
yes.
Yes.
Study to advance the happiness of each other. Not, she doesn't say your happiness.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding.
She doesn't say study to find out how you're going to be happy.
Wow.
She says study how to advance the happiness of each other, the other person.
Wow.
Do you
Wow.
know how different just the world would be? Just the church would be.
Yeah.
Our families would be, if we studied how to advance the happiness of the other people. Not even just in marriage, but specifically we're talking about marriage. But
Yeah.
if you just study, oh, what makes that person happy? Oh, let me do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me not make them ask for it. Let me not make them beg for it. Let me not certainly make them be without it. Let me actually do it.
Yes.
It would change the whole face of so many marriages. It would be ridiculous.
It'd
Go
be
ahead.
ridiculous. It would be ridiculous. That is so good. And it would be the light in their community. It'd be the lighthouse in the community that people need to see, and in their job and in their church and in their grocery store. Because
Mm-hmm.
people will go, man, oh, she got a good man. Or man, his wife must be really good to him, because
Yeah.
the love would be emoted from all of
Mm-hmm.
us. Like it would just be, and it'd be contagious, and it'd be a rippling effect. Um, and it calls us, like you said, we would do life better in our jobs, in our homes, at work, at school, at play, in church. You be better. You be better because you're a better version of you. You're a healthier, whole person. You're healed, and you're not walking around going, "My wife just cussed me out this morning. She said I'm a no good such and such," or the wife ain't walking around going, "He keeps saying, my cooking ain't the best," or "I ain't do this like his mama." So now they walking around with all of this stuff, which
Mm-hmm.
the very next subject is what the enemy wants. The enemy will seek to alienate, because when we
Yep.
do
Go
that,
for it. Go
when
for
we
it.
do that, when we're not studying the advance to advance the happiness of each other,
Right.
when we're only picking at the flaws, we're
Mm-hmm.
literally using each other for dartboards. And remember, whenever you pull that dart out, there's what? A little hole there. And
Mm.
sometimes if you keep throwing it in the same spot, that's what that hole gets bigger.
Yeah.
And so, again, once you do get married and you do start to learn more about your spouse, we have the most power with them next to
Mm-hmm.
God, because we know a lot about their strengths and their weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so, ladies, we cannot be saying every time when he make us mad, "Oh, I'm a match energy." Our friend sent me a picture the day of a shirt saying, "Oh, I match energy." No, 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 no. That's not what God is calling us to do.
Right. Right.
We're not to match energy in that way, because that's what the devil wants. He wants you to do tit for
Mm-hmm.
tat. No, we're
Mm-hmm.
not doing tit for tat. We're not keeping score. If you want a healthy, loving, happy, kind marriage, it's not scorekeeping, and we're not doing tit for tat, and we're not matching energy. He may come home and he's had a bad day. How could I help him? And a lot of times what I found, even the times where I thought it was about me, it wasn't about me. This man was internalizing, had to break down stuff. So even in the beginning, when I keep, what's wrong? Why don't you tell me what's wrong? Why don't you tell me? Before you know it, now we at each other throats because I kept nagging and I didn't give him his
Yes.
space. He won't
Yeah.
process it. So I had to learn that we process differently. I talk mine out to
Hmm.
think out loud. And then even that I had to start learning because he would go right into try to fix it. I just started learning, oh, I just need you to listen there. I'll tell you I want you to fix for me.
Uh-huh.
Came over time, right? But bottom
You breaking up a little bit, just so you know. You know she's coming back with some good stuff. So, um, but just to carry out, yeah, just to carry back. Oh, let's see where we are here.
I'm so sorry. I'm connected to this new Wi-Fi. So I disconnected. Sorry, y'all.
Okay, you good now? You good?
I need to go back to my own Wi-Fi. But basically, we're saying the devil would love for us to hold on to grudges, not forgive fast,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how he's able to alienate. And I would tell you, and then he may have said it here. My husband's said he recognized later. Man, I probably told it to him too because I'm very smart like that. But anyway, just kidding. um, how in those times of, oh, I'm gone again, I'm gone again, I'm gone again. He's sitting home watching a ball game. That's when the devil drops a little. She
Mm.
ain't here again, man. The church more important than you. Those
Mm.
kids more important than you. Or with me, if he's working late a lot, and then when I finally do get time, you gotta watch the game. Well, we agreed I could watch every Laker game, but I'm like, but I want to see here. And now I'm open to share. The devil loves to use moments of things like that, little small things, to allow it to
Right.
fester.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not one taking every thought captive and rebuking that thing and testing and saying, no,
Yes.
I don't. My wife
Yes.
loves me. Oh, because if he's seeing the excellence in me, Anita loves me, man. She ain't thinking it out. Get that out of here. If I'm recognizing, oh,
Mm-hmm.
he seems to be every time I look, or he tells me he's at lunch with so and so. She's married too. He's married, but he's at lunch with so and so. It's something up. If I'm thinking, it's something up. What's going on? If I allow that to then fester and become a stumbling block in our marriage, the devil loves taking all those things. And if he
Yeah.
can alienate and isolate, like he did Eve in the garden, okay?
Yep.
And
Yep.
if he
Yep.
can
Yep.
plant the seeds,
Right.
and if we don't pluck them out,
Mm-hmm.
then so much demise. And this is what happens in a lot of marriages, is because the little lies that he may whisper or that we keep telling, because we rather hold on to that thing than deal with it, let it go, and see the best in our spouse. Many of marriages, many people are divorced today because of all the lies that the enemy planted, that they allowed to
Mm-hmm.
fester. And before they knew it, they were completely alienated from their spouses. They started to even just weaponize sex. I ain't giving him none. So now he's
Mm-hmm.
looking at porn or looking at outside the house because you decided that's how I'm going to get at you. I'm hurting because I'm going to hurt you this way. And
Yeah.
so we have to be very intentional to, well, first of all, just remember that he's out there like a roaring lion, period.
Yeah.
He wants to steal, kill, and
Yeah, he's
destroy.
gonna do whatever. There's no rules. I mean,
Yeah,
God has rules.
yeah,
There are things that God can't do in order to get us to be on His side. You
yeah.
know, Satan don't got no rules. He do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like kill Jesus. I mean, like let's start with that.
Over
He
that.
can do whatever, and he will absolutely plant those, and we will water them with our negative thoughts and our selfishness and our
Yes.
picking out the flaws in that person. That's how we water the seeds that he plants of alienation.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go to this section where it says talking about expressing your love,
Yes.
and this is one of the quotes that I use in my presentation. And when I read it, I loved it so much because it's something that we kind of talked about in one of our sessions during our hiatus in December.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the reality that love is really not hard, and if we just do the things that we know make someone happy,
Mm-hmm.
but we just don't because we looking in ourselves. But this says, excuse me, I'm gonna read the whole paragraph actually.
Sure.
There are many who regard the expression of love as a weakness. We know that's true.
Mm-hmm.
We know that's true. And they maintain a reserve that repels others. Whew.
Mm.
This spirit checks the current of sympathy. So, like, I can't even really feel sympathy for you when you have this cold reserve that just kind of pushes everybody away.
Mm-hmm.
As the social and generous impulses are repressed, they wither and the heart becomes desolate and cold. We
Mercy.
should be aware, we should be aware of this error. And here's the hinge. Love cannot long exist without expression. Mm,
Mercy.
mm, 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 mm.
Mm.
Let not the heart of one connected with you starve for the want of kindness and sympathy. How many women, particularly, but
Yeah.
men too, are starving for the want of kindness and sympathy from the person who keeps saying, I love you?
Mm. Mm.
No, you
Mm.
don't. And the fact that she says love cannot long exist means that your love actually can die.
Yes.
Your love can die when you are not getting that expression of kindness and affection in words and deeds.
Mercy.
Words and deeds. So people are like, oh, well, I show her. No, words and deeds.
Indeed. I pay all the bills.
The Bible is full of God's words about
Mm-hmm.
how much He loves us, but it's also filled with His deeds. So it's not one or the other, it's both.
Yes.
And we have to be intentional. This is our word
Yes.
about speaking love and doing love and living love. Because even I remember I had this friend, and no matter where we were, she always had she always took the opportunity to like compliment somebody, just like stranger on the street type
Mm-hmm.
thing, compliment someone or say something that, and I really admired that about her. She was super outgoing, and there were times when I would think something, but I wouldn't say it
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not super outgoing. I can speak to a crowd, but like when I could also just be in the room by myself and I'm cool
Yeah.
with them. And so when I'm out just by myself, I don't necessarily um, always feel comfortable speaking to strangers. But I was just like, I want to be that way because I know what it feels like to have, especially a woman, tell you that you look good or your shoes look nice, your
Yes.
dress is hot or whatever, your hair is cool. Like it makes you feel so good. So if a stranger can do that, or if we can do that for a stranger, why can't we do that for the person that we've covenanted our life to?
Yes.
Why should they be starving for your affection? Why should they be starving for you to hold their hand? Why should they be starving for, and people have different reasons for what they think, but it's like deal with your stuff.
That's
Deal
it. I was
with,
about to say that.
I don't know if you know who Jason Wilson is.
Mm-hmm.
He's a influencer, bald head, like white beard, and he like teaches martial arts to little boys. And
Yes.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, I wish I lived close to him. Lord have mercy.
I was watching a interview with him, and he was talking about he just has a book that just came out that I think about ordering for some people. It's called The Man the Moment Demands,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like 10 roles of a man, which is interesting because Pastor Legette also has 10 roles of a man. Some of them overlap. I don't remember all of his, but some of them do overlap. He's a Christian or believer as well. And he was talking about affection, and he was saying how his wife likes to hold hands,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't like to hold hands. And because Lewis Howes asked him, like, what is one of the traits or the roles that you struggle with? And he said, affection. Like, I struggle with that. And here's why he struggled with it. He grew up in the hood, gangs, and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in that community, expressing affection for a woman was designated as a weakness.
Weakness. Yep, it's a weakness. Yeah.
You a punk, you a simp, you a whatever,
Hmm.
whatever. And
Hmm.
so he's like, even now, he's like a grown, like he's probably almost 50. And
Hmm.
he's still struggling with that. But, and here's the point, he does it because he knows it's the right thing to do, even though
Yes.
he's still working to overcome his thinking about that thing.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, we should get help if we need help. Yes, we should go to therapy if we need therapy. We can get coaching, we can read a book, we can do whatever. At some point, you just got to do it because it's right.
That's it.
How you feel about it, or what's your thoughts about it, and your
Hmm.
misunderstandings about it. This said, advance the happiness of that person. That means you have to do what may be uncomfortable for you, not sin, obviously, not something that's wrong, but what's uncomfortable to you in order to make that person happy.
Yes.
That's what you're called to.
That it. That's it. That's it. And you make it a choice. And again, you chose this person.
You
You
chose them.
chose. You chose to be in covenant with God and this person. Why not do it? Why not do it? There's
How
so
can
much
it
to
be
get about
happy?
to. Right.
Talk
It's a
about that.
reciprocal process. It's reciprocal. Like we've talked before in the show about submission and the fact that a wife being loved the way she supposed to be loved has no problem in submitting. I think we're gonna have to come back to this chapter because I know you got board meeting and I got a meeting too, because it talks about, she touches on a little bit about neither person trying to take over rulership, like trying to force that. But if a wife is being loved the way she's supposed to be loved, there's no problem her giving to her spouse the appreciation, the respect he desires. But
Mhm.
for the both of them, for the love they both need, if we're out loving and out serving each other, and again, the sympathy and respect that she's encouraging, like that will encourage the striving for excellence. That will encouraging the increase of love. Like it will stimulate an increase in the love being given because we're both doing it. So it's just gonna keep going. That's
It
the
is.
hamster wheel you want to be on, not the other one. A
That's the
top one.
hamster
This is the
wheel.
one you want to be. We running this thing together.
Absolutely. You
That we're
talking
running
truth,
this thing
man. You
together.
talking truth.
Yeah.
I just think you're right, and we'll come back to it. But I wanted to make sure that you highlighted that reciprocal point,
Mhm.
because I remember telling a friend of mine. I said, "Can I tell you a secret about women?" He's like, "What?" I said, "You can't out I love a woman.
No.
You just can't." And so, if you actually loved her the way that she wanted to be loved, it's always going to come back to you tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
Tenfold. We'll come back to it. Marion wants us to come back to it. Um,
Got you, sis.
if I didn't have to actually present something in board meeting, I would stay a little longer. But I don't know where I am on the agenda. But I think that this is such a, like, we want you to have happy, successful partnerships. God,
Yes.
more than that, God wants you to.
Yes.
He gave us this gift, but he also gave us the Bible.
Yes.
If we followed that, we would also not need this. But this is
Yeah.
good practical application of the scriptural principles. But we've got to make different decisions. We
Mm-hmm.
have to be intentional and not selfish in our relationships, because this is the fundamental problem with our lives and our relationships is our selfishness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so after you say I do, now the commitment really starts. You're not committed just
Yes.
to you plan the wedding or you spend money or you whatever. That ain't
Mm-hmm.
commitment. Commitment is saying I do and now living it
Yeah.
every single day in covenant relationship, trying to advance the happiness of the other person.
Amen.
It doesn't mean bring them happiness, because everybody needs to come with their stuff. You can't
Yes.
come empty and then expect someone to just be filling you all the time. But if you're happy, like when we're together, it's hard to be unhappy because you're bringing your stuff and I'm bringing, and we
Yes.
laughing at you. Now, it's sometimes obviously you have things to talk about and maybe you have challenges, but almost none of my friends, even when we bring the challenges, there's a joke in there somewhere. We
Every time.
got a joke
Every time.
about something. We're going to tell a joke about some bringing joy. You're
Yes.
bringing happiness. You're bringing laughter into the relationship, even when there are difficult times. And because then you can get through those difficult times even better. Did you have any
Hmm.
final thoughts? Sorry, I think I froze there for a second. Did you have any
No,
final thoughts?
yeah, yeah, just the fact that again that this thing that we're doing when we are married, this person affects our life now and for our life to come. One of the earlier paragraphs she said, when we're doing the love the way we should, it'll even heaven will be proud
Mm-hmm.
of this. And so as we, in your day to day, we know we're human. Yes, we're gonna get on each other's nerves or whatever, but you have a choice to make. You have a choice. Like I said, last year we started this thing. I'm naturally I was forgiver. My husband would be like, I can forgive, but he'd be like, I'm done with this people outside it. So he had to. That was his growth process with him and God. Mine's was different. Mine sometimes saying I forgive, but then I need to also address these issues sometimes. Like you need to bring it. But we decided last year we're gonna forgive fast. Whatever we're gonna forgive fast. That was one of those things. We're gonna forgive fast because there's no need of holding on to things because the enemy will use it to fester and it tears down the trust. It turns down
Mm-hmm.
the vulnerability in each of us. And then, you hear things early on in our marriage. We get somebody gives a little book, don't sweat the small stuff. And it seems simple, but it's the real deal. Don't sweat the small stuff. And in that not sweating, choose to see the best in your partner. Like choose to
Right.
see the best in your partner and actually, and sit down, do some time, like talk to your spouse as far as because like you said we gotta come with we're coming full, we can't come depending. This is why we have this show. While you're in your singleness, get what you need done in you, like work, be on your healing journey so that you're not looking to this person to fill all these empty spaces. Only God can fill those voided spaces. But when you're in the marriage and there's things that you can do to make your partner happy and make them feel love, do it. And if you don't know, ask them. Like it's crazy to me that I know women, married women, who are still not verbalizing what that thing is they need from their husband. I'm like, you gave the person your body. Like you've even bore children for them. Why are you not saying this is what I need?
Right.
Have the conversations. Sit down and do an assessments. Do a SWOT analysis of your marriage. Do whatever you want to do, 101. Have weekly check-ins, making sure that it's not about the bills, it's not about the kids, it's not about like you having time, not just weekly, but daily, of course. But if there's going to be a time to really look at our marriage, what we're doing, because like I
Right.
said, we change. What worked, 10 years ago may not be it. That's not we're different transitioning the point now. So having the conversations to not allow there to be any assumptions so that the devil can take and fester and alienate you both because your eternal salvation depends on it.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for that. And we will come back to this, talk more about this chapter. This is good stuff. We are, praying for Pastor Legette.
Yes.
Um, we look forward to next week. We have Dalmain Jackson coming to join us. He's a single man. We haven't had a single man come on and talk about singleness. We had Justin, but he was talking about health.
Yeah.
But and I don't even actually know if Justin is single. I know he's not married, but I don't know if But we were on a webinar together talking about singleness, and Onita joined us, talking from a married perspective on how to serve singles and support them. And we really enjoyed the conversation. So we asked him to be with us. He has agreed. And so he
Yes.
will be with us next week. So we won't be in the book, but we're planning some good things coming forward for you. We will come back to this chapter before the season ends, and we'll let
Yes.
you know when the season is ending. Thank you so much again. I know you weren't feeling well and we had all these different things, but it turned out great as usual.
Yes. Thank you,
Appreciate
God.
you in the chat watching. We appreciate those who will watch the replay. We thank you all for your support. And until next time, make choices that will help you live, love, and marry wiser. God bless.